Oh, let's talk a little bit about the planning process, getting the materials. I just got this one off of Amazon at $35. You'll find a lot of brands. They seem pretty similar, but they all have high reviews. So who cares? Because the sunshade isn't really most of the money. Most of the money is going to be in all the stuff you're going to buy to install it. So the first thing you want to check, in my case, or in your case if you're hooking to the house, is going to be where you're going to hook to. In my case, I'm lucky because I have vinyl siding and some vinyl and aluminum soffits. But what's right underneath there, and I pushed up that bottom soffit a little bit to check, is that there's heavy framing lumber under there. Sometimes a single 2x6 or 2x8, sometimes a double, because that's near the hip of the roof. And on the other side, I think it may be a rafter and a joist sort of met each other there. I went up and checked and I saw a double 2x in there, so I was surely set. I put in some screw eyes in there. I use 3/8 inch stainless steel screw eyes. I'd usually recommend buying the unit first and laying it out on the ground and perhaps stretching it between the D-rings and see what you get, and then check your measurements to make sure that you're going to be able to pull that end nice and tight that's against the house. A lot of people might use turnbuckles or might use ropes. In my case, I was close on the dimensions, so I just used the screw eyes and I opened up the end a little bit with a pry bar and was able to slide the D-ring for the sunshade itself right into there. The other end, that's a whole different story. So on the other end, depending on how large of a sunshade you're going to install, how much money you have, a lot of us are going to use just a 4x4 or a 4x6 or a 6x6, depending on how large of a shade and how high up you have to go. Since mine is 10x10, it's really closer to 9x9 probably. I'm elected to use 4x4s. So part of planning this to get it right might be for a lot of people to just grab a 2x4 or a 2x3 and temporarily rig up with guy wires or one way or another, rig up the far ends of this sunshade to make sure exactly where your posts are going to be located before you start digging your holes. Now, this is a very important part. Your poles or supports have to be at about a 45-degree angle from the sunshade. Do not put them straight back from it or you'll never be able to pull out to get this straight, to get the end of this tight. So you're going to want to put them at an angle, a diagonal angle from the end of the D-ring. So the posts, whenever you see any of the instructions, they tell you to lean the posts. One of the reasons you might not see these be perfect is, as you'll see in a minute, these are not cemented in yet. So once I had my location established by using a temporary stick and pulling the thing out and seeing about where it would be, I proceeded to dig my post holes, and these are about 4 feet deep, which is about what I need for 9 feet extending. Right now, this is just jammed in here. That's just helping to hold it in position until I get the cement. This is just jammed in here. This is just holding it in position until I get the cement poured in the hole at about a 6 degree, maybe 6.5 degree angle both ways. A lot of the places recommend about 5 degrees. I'm just going a little further just to get out there a little further so I have some more pull on it in case the post bends. But I would think anywhere between 4 and 7 degrees. And so that's done by holding a level. I used the 4-foot level and then maybe had it about 5 inches out. When the level was level, it was about 5 inches out at the bottom. That calculates to somewhere around a 6 degree angle. Just a block to hold it in place so that we keep the angle while the cement's drying. I stole a little idea off of one of the YouTube characters that put this in. And of course you can use turnbuckles and all kinds of things to get your angles right and get it so it can be tightened up in the future. But what I did was I just stuck a pulley up there on the 4x4, used rope with a bowline from the D-ring, put it through the pulley, and then used a cam cleat like so on a sailboat. So this is a cam cleat where you can pull the rope out. The sunshade is up. It's quite tight, taut, you might say. The cement has set on the poles. We'll take a quick look. So yes, the cement is set. I cleaned up around it, put some of the gravel back, and we can see the whole system. I have the dock cleat, which is holding the rope just in case. The other cleat, which is for pulling tight. And up top we have the pulley. So mine's on the southwest side of the house, and that blocks the sun perfectly for exactly what I want to do. So now comes the good part, actually enjoying our sunshade and knowing my wife and myself, this will be the beginning. We'll put one in the back on top of that table, even though we really don't use that table very much. But this is handy because we can sit outside with our computers virtually the whole day and be in shade. Being in New England, we don't have a lot of bugs, so there's not the need to screen in like there is in Florida.